Welcome everyone. In the previous lectures we have seen the operational amplifier. Since the differential amplifier is the basic building block of operational amplifier, today we will discuss the differential amplifiers. The operational amplifier by definition is a direct coupled high gain amplifier and its usable frequency is ranging from 0 Hz to few over 1 MHz, and feedback is added to control its overall response characteristics like it may be gain and bandwidth. These parameters will be controlled with the help of feedback. The op-amp exhibits gain down to 0 frequency. As a direct coupled amplifier do not use blocking capacitors, that is coupling capacitor or bypass capacitors, since these would reduce the amplification to 0 at 0 frequency. Large bypass capacitors may be used, but it is not possible to fabricate large capacitors on an IC. So the capacitors fabricated are usually less than 20 picofarads. Transistors, diodes and resistors are also fabricated on the same chip. Differential amplifier is the basic building block of an operational amplifier. As we have seen from the block diagram, first block is input stage having dual input balanced output differential amplifier. The function of differential amplifier is to amplify the difference between two input signals. Now we will see how to design a differential amplifier or how the differential amplifier is developed. So for the development of differential amplifier, let us consider two emitter biased transistor circuits. So in the figure we have seen here, there are two transistors, transistor Q1 and Q2. So both the transistors are emitter biased transistors, and these two transistors are identical in the characteristics. As we can say here, for transistor Q1 and Q2, the resistors, emitter resistors are RE1 and RE2. As they are identical circuits, resistor RE1 is equal to RE2. Similarly, capacitor resistors RC1 is equal to RC2, and magnitude of VCC is equal to the magnitude of minus VE. Remember here that supply voltages plus VCC and minus VE are measured with respect to the ground. So to obtain a single circuit differential amplifier, we have to connect these two emitter bias circuits such that we have to reconnect plus VCC of both the transistors, these two transistors plus VCC supply voltages, and these voltages are connected such that they are having the same polarity and amplitude. Similarly, reconnect minus VE of both the transistors. So we have connected minus VE here, plus VCC is connected, plus VCC is connected here, and because of RE1 and RE2 resistors are connected, both the emitters are also connected here. E1 of transistor Q1 is connected to E2 of transistor Q2. So the resistors RE1 is in parallel with resistor RE2, and its equivalent resistance is RE. RE is simply RE1 in parallel with RE2. The input signals V1 is applied to the base of transistor Q1, that is B1, and V2 is applied to the base B2 of transistor Q2. Also we are going to measure the output voltage between the collectors C1 and C2 as V0. So we are labeling this output voltage indicated here between the two transistors as both are at the same potential. So this circuit will, whatever the changes we have made in the two emitter bias circuits are depicted into these circuits, and now this is the differential amplifier. This amplifier is also called as the difference amplifier because it will amplify the difference between the two input signals V1 and V2. So all what we have seen is characteristics are identical and supply voltages are also having same amplitude and polarity plus VCC. The output voltage we are collected at both the collectors, so it is V0. So now this output voltage polarity will depend on the two input voltages. When V1 is greater than V2, the output voltage will be obtained with the same polarity as shown on the V1. When V1 is less than V2, the output has the opposite polarity than V1. We know that differential amplifiers, how we are connected here. So now these amplifiers are of different kind, as this is the basic differential amplifier where we have connected both the inputs to transistors base B1 and B2, V1 and V2 respectively. Resistors are connected to the collectors are RC1 and RC2, and emitter resistors RE1 and RE2 we have connected, and after reconnections that will give you the equivalent resistance RE. So this differential amplifier circuit is the basic differential amplifier circuit which can derive the remaining three differential amplifier circuit configurations. So that is, differential amplifier will have four different configurations, that is dual input balanced output differential amplifier, second one is dual input unbalanced output differential amplifier, then single input balanced output differential amplifier, and the last configuration is single input unbalanced output differential amplifier. So these configurations we will see in the next slide and are defined by the number of input signals used and the way an output voltage is measured. If we use two input signal, the configuration is said to be dual input, otherwise it is called as a single input configuration. And if the output is measured between two collectors, it is referred to as balanced output, because both the collectors are at the same DC potential with respect to ground. Otherwise, if output is measured at one of the collectors with respect to ground, the configuration is called as an unbalanced output configuration. So we will see the circuit diagram for amplifiers. The first circuit is dual input balanced output amplifier. Depending on the number of inputs, we can see here both the transistors base will be connected to the sources input voltage Vs1 and Vs2 is applied to the base of transistors Q1 and Q2. So it is dual input, as well as output is collected at both the collectors. With respect to this, we are collecting output at the both between the two collectors, so it is balanced output differential amplifier. Having two inputs, dual input balanced output differential amplifier. In the second circuit, two inputs are connected, Vs1 to the base of Q1 and Vs2 to the base of Q2, but output is collected at only one of the collector with respect to ground. So the output is unbalanced output. So the configuration is called as dual input unbalanced output differential amplifier. In the next, now only one base is connected to the input signal source. So we can see here transistor Q1, V1 is the base of transistor Q1 and Vs1 is the input voltage given to it, whereas base B2 is connected to ground. So only single input is given. So it is single input, but at the same time output is collected between the two collectors. So it is balanced output amplifier. So single input balanced output differential amplifier. Again, this is a single input type of amplifier and output is collected at one of the collector with respect to ground. So we are not collecting output at this collector. Either we can collect to this Q1's collector or to the Q2's collector. So this is called as single input unbalanced output differential amplifier. So we know that for the development of or for the design of differential amplifier, we require two matched semiconductors of the same type, that may be BJT or FETs are required for the differential amplifier, and all the components in the two emitter bias circuits which constitute a differential amplifier must be matched in all respect for proper operation. So we can say that the magnitude of the supply voltages are plus VCC and minus V must be equal. So with the help of such type of differential amplifier, we can design a multi-stage amplifier. A multi-stage amplifier with a desired gain can be obtained using direct connection between successive stages of differential amplifier. What it means is, we can connect number of differential amplifiers in direct connection in series when we are connecting, such that the second stage will be driven by the first stage. So output of first differential amplifier will act as input to the second, and output of second will again directly act as input to the third. So in this way successively number of differential amplifier stages we can make for the multi-stage amplifier for the required gain. And here in all the cases we are using the direct connection. What is the beauty of this direct coupling or direct connection is that it removes the lower cutoff frequency which is imposed because of the coupling capacitors. If we are using the coupling capacitors, that will add lower cutoff frequencies, but as we are not using any kind of coupling capacitors, it will remove the lower cutoff frequency, and therefore these amplifiers are capable of amplifying DC as well as AC input signals. Because of these advantages, differential amplifiers are widely used to compare two input signals. So now, as we have the four different configurations of differential amplifier, that is depending on the number of inputs we are providing and the way in which we are measuring the output voltage either in between two collectors or with respect to ground, with the one of the collector with respect to ground. There are four configurations. Now we want to find out the operating points for this differential amplifier and what should be the gain provided, what should be the input resistance provided by these amplifiers. We have to go for its analysis. So the DC analysis will be required to determine the operating points values for differential amplifiers, and for to obtain or to determine the expressions for voltage gain or differential voltage gain and input resistance Ri, we have to go for AC analysis. So for a differential amplifier, we have to determine its operating points and also we have to determine its voltage gain and input resistance. So now we will first do the DC analysis that will determine the operating values or operating points of the differential amplifier. As we have seen, the first configuration is dual input balanced output differential amplifier. We will do the DC analysis for dual input balanced output differential amplifier. So everyone knows that this is the differential amplifier circuit where two input signals are provided to the inputs, and accordingly we are collecting the output between the collector C1 and collector C2. But we know that we are providing AC input signal as input to both of the base terminals, and plus VCC and minus VA are the DC supplies that we have connected. Here we want to determine the operating points, that is collector current, quiescent collector current, and collector to emitter voltage, that is quiescent voltage, for the transistor used. For that we must need to determine, or we must need to first find out the DC equivalent circuit of differential amplifier. So this is the DC equivalent circuit in which we have to remove the AC signal sources, that is VS1 and VS2, which are applied as input voltages to the base B1 and B2. We have to make them is equal to 0 volt or connect to the ground. So now in the circuit there are only DC supplies, plus VCC and minus V. Consider this is the circuit for transistor Q1, this is the source resistance RS, current flowing into the base B1 is IB1 and current flowing into the base B2 is IB2. As when we are designing this differential amplifier, we have two identical emitter follower transistors. So they are having the what we can say, they are having perfectly matched transistors and all the characteristics of these transistors are same. So because of which whatever is the current flowing into the base IB1 is equal to the current flowing into the base B2, or we can say that IB1 is equal to IB2 and that we are simply representing as IB1. Okay. Similarly, these two resistors RC1 and RC2 are again identical, so that is simply RC. We are representing as RC1 is equal to RC2 is equal to RC, and two emitter resistors, its equivalent resistance is RE, parallel equivalent resistance, we can make them it is as RE. As there is two current flowing through this resistor, IE1 current and IE2 is the emitter current through the transistor Q2. Both the currents are identical, so we are denoting them as IE current. So the current flowing through this resistor RE is IE plus IE twice of IE. IC is the current flowing through resistor RC. IC1 is equal to IC2 is IC. Now this is the DC equivalent circuit where we have make AC signal sources to 0. Now we want to determine its equation. To find out the quiescent points, first of all what we want to do here is we have to apply the KVL to the input loop of one of the transistors. As both the transistors are identical, we can determine the operating points for one of the transistors, so the same will be applicable for the another transistor. So in this circuit we can say here is we can find out the operating points for Q1, that is this half circuit we can also consider here. Whatever is the operating points of Q1 will be the operating points of Q2. Now apply the KVL to the input loop of transistor Q1. Into this, now Kirchhoff's voltage law we are going to apply, that is because of the current IB, voltage drop across this resistor is RS into IB. Voltage drop between base to emitter is VBE, and here voltage drop is RE into twice of I. And at last there is the voltage minus VE present. So how we can write the equation after applying the Kirchhoff's voltage law? So whatever we have seen explained earlier, the same thing we have written here. So after applying the KVL to the base emitter loop, as we have seen here, this is the voltage drop, we can write as minus IB into RS minus VBE voltage minus 2IE into RE plus VEE is equal to 0. See, the equation is minus IB into RS minus VBE minus 2IE into RE plus VE is equal to 0. In this circuit, as we have used the emitter follower circuit, so that what we want to say here is the collector current IC will be represented as beta into IB, and hence IC is approximately is equal to IB. Because of the emitter bias circuits, we can write IC is equal to IB. Now in the first equation there are two current terms IE and IB. So we want to represent this IB in terms of I, as IC is equal to beta IB and IC is approximately equal to IE. We can write IB, rearrange simply by replacing IC by IE. IB is equal to IE divided by beta, or sometimes we can denote this beta as beta DC, as we are here dealing with the DC analysis. Now substitute this equation into the equation number 1, and we can write in place of IB it is IE by beta minus IE into RS by beta minus VBE minus 2IERE plus VEE is equal to 0. Now this is your third equation. Now make both the IE terms common. When we are taking out this one as outside IE, what is the coefficient is minus RS by beta. Here is minus 2RE plus VEE, remaining this one is minus VBE is equal to 0. Rearrange this equation such that we want to find out equation for IE. IE is equal to plus VEE minus VBE divided by this equation. When we are taking minus sign outside, we will give you plus sign here, and then we can write as RS by beta plus 2RE. Here we know that the base to emitter voltage drop for a transistor is 0.6 volt to 0.7 volt if it is silicon type of semiconductor, and 0.3 volt for germanium type of transistor. In practically, we know that RS is the source resistance, which is very minimum, and beta is very high factor. So RS by beta, when we are calculating this value, is very less in comparison to the 2RE. So what is our equation here is, at the denominator of equation number 5, RS by beta plus 2RE. If this part will become very less in comparison to 2RE, we can equate this total denominator RS by beta plus 2RE is approximately equal to 2RE. So that when we are equating this one as 2RE, my equation for emitter current is VEE minus VBE divided by 2RE. Now this is the one of the quiescent point. As we know that for transistor, emitter bias transistor, IC is equal to IE, we can write that IC is equal to IE is equal to VEE minus VBE divided by 2RE. Okay. So from this equation, what we can say that RE setups the emitter current in the transistors Q1 and Q2, and for that we should know what is the value of VEE supply voltage. Or in other words, by selecting the proper value of emitter resistor RE, we can obtain a desired value of emitter current for a known value of VEE minus VEE. Also we can make that the emitter current in transistor Q1 and Q2 is independent of the collector resistance RC. Okay. So now we have to determine collector to emitter voltage VCE. That is, voltage at the emitter of transistor Q1 is, if we see the diagram, voltage at the emitter of transistor Q1 is approximately equal to minus VBE. If we assume that the voltage drop across the source resistance or Rin is negligible resistance, the value of emitter current IE is approximately IC. So we obtain the voltage at the collector VC is, so we will see first the diagram, that voltage at the collector VC is, from this what we are saying here is, consider the first transistor Q1. So voltage at the emitter is VE voltage and voltage at the collector is VC voltage. As there is voltage drop VBE, which is positive when we are looking from this base towards the emitter. Now we want the voltage at this point, so which is minus of VBE, and voltage at collector VC is, as we are supplying plus VCC, and that is voltage drop across RC is RC into IC. So the available voltage at this point is VCC minus this voltage drop. VCC minus ICRC is nothing but voltage available at collector. So we will go to the equation to find out collector to emitter voltage. To determine this voltage, VC is written as VCC minus ICRC. Also we have neglected the voltage drop across resistor RC, and hence collector to emitter voltage VCE is nothing but voltage available at collector VC minus voltage available at emitter VE. What is VC is VCC minus ICRC, and VE is nothing but minus VBE, that is minus of minus VBE. So that it is VCC plus VBE minus ICRC. Rearrange this equation and we got VCE is equal to VCC plus VBE minus ICRC. Hence, we can write IE is equal to IC is equal to ICQ, while collector to emitter voltage VC is written as VCEQ for the given values of plus VCC and minus VE voltages. So these two equations, equation number 6, that is for IE is equal to VE minus VBE by 2RE, and equation number 8, VCE is equal to VCC plus VBE minus ICRC, will give us the operating points for transistor Q1, and the same will be applicable for the transistor Q2. As both the transistors are identical, when we are determining operating point values for one of the transistors, the same will be applicable for the other. And here is, because of the same biasing arrangement, the DC analysis remains same for all the 4 possible configurations of differential amplifier. That is, once we find DC analysis for dual input balanced output differential amplifier, same will be remain for all other 3 configurations, that is dual input unbalanced output differential amplifier, single input balanced output differential amplifier, and for single input unbalanced output differential amplifier also. So the 2 available quiescent points are I is equal to VE minus VBE by RS by beta plus 2RA. This is theoretically. Practically, when we are writing is, this is practically, and now we are approximating as this, we are neglecting this term, minimum resistance will be available. It is VE minus VBE by 2RE, and which is written as ICQ. VCEQ is VCC plus VBE minus ICQ into RC. So these DC analysis equations are applicable for all 4 differential amplifier configurations, as we use same biasing arrangement for each of them. Okay. So now in this lecture what we have seen is how the differential amplifier will be developed. Then for the development we are using the identical transistors having the same characteristics, that is in terms of resistances, currents flowing into the terminals. Then depending on the number of inputs we are applying and the way we are collecting the output, there are 4 configurations, and to obtain the operating points we have to go for DC analysis, and to find out its voltage gain and input resistance we have to go for AC analysis. So for one of the configuration, that is dual input balanced output differential amplifier, we have derived or we have determined the operating point values for DI-BO amplifier with the DC analysis, that is ICQ and VCEQ. In the next lecture we will see AC analysis for the same differential amplifier, that is dual input balanced output differential amplifier, that will determine or that will give us the expression for voltage gain, differential voltage gain AD, and input resistance RI.